Take a breath, step outside.
All right, a very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for your essence, your time, your energy. Welcome to the Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle. We're very honored whether you are beaming in through our wonderful social networks that we're very honored to have you in, or if you are looking at this through one of the multiple social media outlets that we have. Before we start this evening's show with our awesome guest tonight that we're very excited to have, I want to just take this time and moment to acknowledge the traditional caretakers of these lands that we reside on here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And also take this time too to acknowledge wherever you're beaming in from this moment, whether you're watching this in the recording or doing the live streaming, acknowledge the ancestors and the traditional caretakers of the lands that you reside on so we could all be here this evening. Thank you.
Yate, Anotko. In the beauty way, everyone, we are all, and we are all.
Oh, yeah.
And we are Indigenous Ways, dedicated to bridging cultural exchange with people globally. And we're so blessed to have our Wednesday evening virtual events. We call it our Wisdom Circle.
Wisdom Circle.
6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time every Wednesday. And this month we have Friday evening performances. And that is again at 6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So we're very grateful this evening to have Joanna Harcourt-Smith, and I've known Joanna for many, many years. I have looked up to her for many, many years. She has an amazing, amazing story, essence, personality, spirit. Her mind is absolutely brilliant, and we're so grateful that you have honored us with your presence
Absolutely.
tonight. Thank you very much, and thank you, Joanna. We love you.
So with that, please let's all give it up for the one and only, the beautiful Joanna Harcourt-Smith. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Hello, my brothers and sisters, truly brothers and sisters. There's only one blood that runs in our veins, a little bit modified by what lands we come from, different spices our ancestors have taken in, all from the land. I'm a European woman, meaning I was seeded into my mother in Switzerland. And so I was born on the land of Switzerland in one of the highest places in terms of mountains and lakes, fresh lakes. And I came out of my mother at the time when it was cold in the mountains. And this is important in the story I want to tell you. And the story I want to tell you is about learning the gratitude of being alive, the absolute amazing gift that it is to be a human being. So I came out at 6.5 months from my mother's belly. And there were no incubators where I was. I came out a couple of months after, I came out about 3 months after the atom bombs were horribly thrown onto our brothers and sisters in Japan. And I came out to my mother, and as I said, there were no incubators. She was staying in a very fancy hotel, in a very luxurious, very expensive hotel, because what I want you to know and understand is what these people, like my family and many families nowadays, the billionaires, what they've done is they have traded feeling, the beauty of feeling, the sky, each other, everything that's alive, the billionaires, the killers have traded feeling for money. Most of them I know, and I've known very wealthy people who have a heart and who care, but mostly money at that level betrays the feeling part of the human being. So I came out and I weighed 3 pounds, and I realize now, you know, I'm an old woman now. I'll be 75 years old in January, and I've lived at the edge every single way. So I'm an old woman, and like Tashi's grandmother, like other women my age, I claim the fact that I'm a wise old woman. I've paid the price of touching many lands, of knowing the smell of many places on this earth. So there you go. At 3 pounds, I must have decided to live. I don't remember very well, but I have developed a storyteller's compassion for this little 3 pound creature. It's like I'm next to her. I don't really know her because I can't remember that far, but I know her. She wanted to live. And you know what? At 75 years old today, with stage 4 cancer, I can still taste that love of life every single moment, even when I'm depressed, you know. Like today, I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me that my cancer is not getting better. But you know what? I'm alive. And I have the freedom of turning up or turning down every single moment that I live. Now, I want to say this. Even depression is a gift. And I've known depression. And I just want to tell you, I'm sitting right there with you. When you think that life is not worth living, well, yes, it's true. It's really, really hard. Life is hard, mainly because living the world as we live in it, we have to pay to breathe. That's one of my sayings. You have to pay to breathe. But life is hard. But even sadness and depression, even that is a gift, you know, because that sadness and depression makes us as alive as a tree or a cat or a panther. You know, even depression has the gift of life. And I'm well qualified to say it. So I landed in this family, and they were a family of people who, for generations, had been takers, and if necessary, killers in order to take. And it's not that I don't love my ancestors today. It's just that I look back and I see the truth. I see what they had to take in order to have the cars that they had, the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys and the Ferraris, to have the houses that they have. Mind you, a lot of beauty, a lot of beauty, a lot of, at least they decided, some of the most beautiful art on this planet. Reproduction of the real thing, mind you, but some of the most beautiful paintings and sculptures on this planet. But in order to acquire those possessions, they had to practice cruelty on a lot of people, like the people on the land that I now live in. And the price of practicing, this is what I've been thinking about for days that I want to tell you. The price of practicing this cruelty on others made these people practice cruelty on their own children, because they knew that if they didn't practice this kind of cruelty on their own children, well, the children, because children are naturally compassionate, children are naturally giving and loving. I really believe that, I don't know, maybe most of us, maybe all of us as children are born as loving beings. So the thing that people in my family had to do was to extinguish that natural compassion, that natural empathy in their children. I won't name him, but you can sort of see that in today's yeah, you know what I mean. But anyway, what I'm saying is that they tried like crazy through screaming and humiliating and victimizing and all kinds of abuse. They tried to extinguish this heart that I came in with. And it's a heart that I really believe that most kiddos come in with. I need a Kleenex. If you can find one somewhere. Even a piece of toilet paper is fine. So anyway, it is a tradition in a lot of power families to extinguish empathy and compassion in their children, because otherwise they'd give away the money, they'd give away the possessions. So by the time I was, say, 12 years old, I'd learned to be cruel. And there was a natural sort of alarm in me when I felt someone was attacking me, which was most all the time, because I had become used to being attacked by people who should be loving me. I knew how to be cruel. I knew how to undress you. Undress you psychologically. I had become a damn good psychologist to defend myself. Everything for me was defense by the time I was 12 years old. And I started drinking because, on the other hand, being cruel and being nasty was so contrary to my real nature that I had to hide. I had to hide the pain that it gave me to know the pain that I was inflicting on others by being unkind and cruel and selfish. I knew the pain, but I had to defend myself. The only thing in life was manipulating, defending, like many, too many, one is too many children. I was sexually abused. I was sexually abused by my mother's driver. I mean, why not? He was lower on the food chain than I was. And he was into defending himself as well. That doesn't mean that I forgive him. I mean, in a way I do, but you know, that doesn't mean I pass on that in any way. I'm just saying oppression, 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 reaction, reaction, reaction. Well, I told you in the beginning that I was born at 6.5 months, and I came here to claim life. There was no way. Oh, sure. I tried to kill myself, stuff like that, with pills and things. But look, it was clear that I came here to claim life. And I came here to join in the beauty of the people that know that life is a waterfall of pain and goodness. But I didn't really know love, because love, just the joy of meeting the eyes of another person, just the joy of encircling the body of another person and feeling that you really feel each other, and it's not sexual. It's just a feeling of goodness and a feeling of belonging. That kind of love I didn't know, because as I grew up as a woman, I was used by men. Had beautiful hair. I have to say that because I have to live without it now. But I was used by men. And I let them use me, because I just thought, you know, they're the oppressors. And if I don't give in to the oppressors, I'm done. I don't have what I need to live. So I let men take advantage of me. I mean, advantage is a really small word. I sold myself in the sense that I had sex with men, with many men that I didn't want to have sex with. I knew they were taking power from it, and I let them do that. I got married. I had children. But this was claiming life. It was surely claiming life. It was a huge way of claiming life, a beautiful way of claiming life. Yet I still wondered in which way I was supposed to claim life. And you know, one day, well, I have to tell you, I stopped drinking 36 years ago. And I really went sober. And I walked the streets of Philadelphia in the summer humidity and sun with a coat on, because I was freezing cold and scared. and afraid. And I had felt powerful in some way in my beauty and my nastiness and my cruelty and the way I had that I could put you down whenever I wanted. But, you know, I went to this very special association that you now find all over the world. And the people loved me. And I knew it for the first time in my life. I sat in a room with 20, 15, 30 strangers, and they heard me. I didn't say much. I said, I'm broken. I'm broken. And I don't know how to live. I don't know about kindness. And I don't know about this kind of love. And you know what? I cried for 2 years. I cried for 2 years when I heard people being real and true and giving what was absolutely authentic in themselves. I cried because nobody had ever touched that part of my being. Maybe the word is generosity. Nobody had ever shown me what human generosity is. And I can tell you, human generosity is endless. It's deep as the purest well. And it's not hard. You don't have to have much. Human generosity is about, in my experience, it's just about showing yourself like, hi, I'm here. I see you. You see me? I see you. And that's what I was born for. That's why I'm here. So we can see each other and acknowledge that we belong together. That we're just little people on this fantastic planet. And it's scary, it's terrifying, but we can be generous with each other. We don't need nothing at all to be generous. All we need is courage. All we need is seeing each other. That's all we need. So one day, after I'd been sober quite a long time, I had this dream. And this booming voice said to me, your name is Heart Mender. Heart Mender. Wow. I thought, well, should I make up some cards that say, Dr. Heart Mender? What am I supposed to do? And it was just, every day, every hour, when you go around and you meet a dog, or you meet a cat, or you meet a person, just wonder how you can be heart menders to each other. Because you can't be heart mender alone. You have to know. It takes two. It takes two to be a heart mender, or three, or four, or five. It takes what I call skinship. It takes at least one part of your being touching each other, and then like fireworks lighting up about every part of your being that comes alive, that aliveness that you already had. You had it, but maybe it was not ignited by the smile, the heart, the words of another person. You know, I have a bad cancer, and the other day, this I see somebody on the screen, and I don't know what it means. Can somebody speak to me?
Joanna, this is your ASL interpreter. Go ahead and continue. It's
Okay,
beautiful. We got Zoe on, so continue, please. You're beautiful.
sure. So, and I'm so grateful to be translated in sign language. I'm I'm proud and excited to be translated into sign language. So I was saying that I have this cancer, and the other day I was at chemo. They do that, chemo. We do that, and it was after many chemos, and I started sobbing, you know, not just crying, like my whole body heaving and sobbing. And all of the nurses came, and they, like 7 or 8, and they surrounded me, and they were so warm and so beautiful. And this one nurse, she said to me, "Damn this COVID. All I want to do in this world right now is take you in my arms and kiss you." And you know, I will never forget that. I will never forget that. I mean, you know, there are so many gifts of love that are packaged all over my body. So I don't want to die. I really don't want to die, because I want to see another tree I've never seen. So I don't want to die. I want to see another dog's face that I can't believe. Wow. How can any creature on this planet have a face like this? But here I am right now, right here with you, and accepting this mystical, magical, beautiful invitation. So I want to thank you, my friends, and thank you, whoever is listening to my hearing. I love you. Thank you for the chance to love you.
This is Tasha's voice. Thank you, Joanna. We absolutely love you. So many of us, we see you, we hear you, we follow you, and we feel you. And, you know, when I met you 20 something years ago, you were so kind to me, and you gave me your manuscript to your book. And I took it home and I read it as carefully as I read Richard Erdos's book that he wrote, and also in its original manuscript form. And I was so blown away about your life story. It just blew me away, the richness of your background, your history, your European beginnings, and jet setting with the Rolling Stones, and doing flying all over with all these rock stars in the 60s and 70s, and I went, wow, man, I want to be just like Joanna when I grow up. Of course, I was already grown up, but I was kind of emotionally immature at the time. But
I remember.
and then your history around being married to Timothy Leary. I mean, that guy was my hero, man. I mean, I got to learn about Timothy Leary, and through your book, I felt like I got a firsthand. I got to meet the man through your words because you were married to the man. I don't know if anybody knows Timothy Leary, but Timothy
Don't
Leary
be
was an
young.
exceptional human being that was a psychologist that uh,
Marvin.
yeah, he's got a story and a half. So he's no longer with us, but Joanna got to spend a number of years with Timothy Leary, so that was pretty impressive to me. So, and all that time that I knew you and mostly got to know you through your book, and then knowing you, uh, I just, I just at that time I was putting people on pedestals, and you were sitting right up on that pedestal, and then I kept hearing, don't put anybody on a pedestal because what is a pedestal? Putting someone on a pedestal, what is the metaphor for that, right? What is a pedestal? A pedestal is like
A place for me to fall from.
you're funny, but you know what? You're still on a
My
pedestal
friend.
for me, Joanna, because you're just to me you're Superwoman. You're eternal. You're forever. You're just a very exceptional human being, and I'm forever honored to know you. Just know that I see you, I feel you from the moment I set my eyes into your eyes, and we touched eyes 20 something years ago. I absolutely fell in love with your essence because you just have this spark. So thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Joanna, for blessing us with your essence, the wisdom that you have bestowed with us this evening. We are so honored to have you here. And like Tash said, I see you, we see you. Joanna for a long time did the Future Primitive, which was a podcast which she has interviewed hundreds of people. You can go to futureprimitive.org. But that, as she shared, that essence that she has brought in through the language of the heart, of what she has shared with us this evening. So we're really, really honored that you're here with us this evening. So thank you so much, Joanna.
And anybody that's going to invest in kindness. What does it mean to really be kind, to be nice from the heart? What is that language? You got it, Joanna. You got it. And you know what? To be kind to that little stray cat, you know? To be kind to that person on the street, you know? And gosh, that's the magic. That is the well. That is the water of life. And that is you, Joanna. So, where can I find your book? Where can we find your book?
Oh,
I want
oh,
to read that original manuscript and what does it look like since 20 something years ago. It's quite different.
well, first of all, I'll give you a copy of the book with most pleasure. The book was published 6 years ago,
Okay.
and you can find it on Amazon.
Oh,
Put in my name, Joanna Harcourt-Smith. Absolutely. And also, the film of me telling the story of my book will be streaming, telling my story in my 20s, will be streaming on Showtime in November.
Congratulations.
That's a major documentary,
Fantastic.
well-long
did
documentary,
you hear that, Mom and Aaron?
directed.
Joanna's going to be on Showtime.
It's going to be on Showtime, directed by an Academy Award winner. an extraordinary man called Errol Morris. He got an Academy Award for making the film is called Fog of War, The Fog of War. And he made Nixon's Secretary of War admit that they had killed hundreds of thousands of people for nothing. And I'm honored that director did the documentary of my story.
Beautiful,
does it have a
beautiful.
title? Is there a title to the documentary?
Jose says the title of my book is called Tripping the Bardo with Timothy Leary.
Tripping on LSD with Timothy Leary? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's funny, but it's not kidding.
Oh, okay. Tripping.
Right.
I think I missed that.
Bardo.
The Bardo. Okay, Bardo.
With
Tripping
Timothy.
the Bardo with Timothy Leary.
Oh, okay.
And you can get it on Amazon.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna order it tonight.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Joanne. So we're just going to trip into a little bit of a commercial break before we bring all our Zoomsters in. And if you're out in social media and you want to share something with Joanna, you can type that in. But before we bring our Zoomsters in, we just want to share what's going to be happening with the Indigenous Ways virtual events. I'm just going to talk about next Wednesday. This time next Wednesday, we have Dr. Zalma Harris. Now, she has a daughter who was playing in the concert series about a month ago. That was Narissa Bond. She was one of the participants in the audience watching her daughter. Then we found out a little bit about this extraordinary woman who's now living in Tucson, Arizona. And we said to her, we need you to come on. So we're very excited because next week at the Wisdom Circle, she will be gracing us with her essence and beauty there.
And we're very excited to welcome back our very, very gentle, now talk about a kind soul. This guy is Menominee Indian from Wisconsin, lives on the reservation, and he is a singer and a songwriter and does this year-round, mostly throughout Europe, to raise his family of 5 children. And he's into natural, growing his own vegetables, and he's an amazing singer-songwriter. So we're happy to have Wade Fernandez back this Friday. We've also taken him back to the Navajo Nation with us for a festival in Chinle, spelled CHIN for Nancy LE. That's at the Canyon de Chelly, and he was just a superstar there. I mean, in terms of, he didn't just get on the stage in the elementary school for the children. He didn't just get on the stage for the main audience, but he got into the land and chopped the wood and washed the dishes in the campground, and he jumped in when a crisis hit, and he was like our medicine man or something. So we were so impressed with him that we said, Wade, we're going to continue to bring you back out here. And he's a long ways off. Wisconsin's a little bit of a ways, but he's going to join us on Zoom thanks to this platform.
And this is possible because of our sponsors. So we want to acknowledge the people, the First Peoples Fund, the Santa Fe City of Arts and Culture Department, the New Mexico Arts, and also the National Endowment of the Arts. And also sponsoring for the Wisdom Circle, we want to thank as well the New Mexico Humanities Council and also the National Endowment of Humanities. Also, this is possible not only through our sponsors, our corporate sponsors, but also because of you, our individual sponsors, who also help fund our interpreters. So down wherever on your screen, you'll see the beautiful Zoll, who was interpreting. Before we had Chris Sesiando, who was interpreting. This is our 41st or 41st show. We opened up on the 1st of April simply because of what had happened. We had all this funding that we produce festivals and events out in remote areas. And because of what was going on with this pandemic, we put it into this platform. And what Joanna was talking about was because of that connection of the heart and keeping everyone connected. So I want to thank everyone for your love and support, whether you're watching this from the recording or you're viewing this now in the live streaming. You'll see down the bottom, a lot of stuff has been coming across. That is all our social network sites. So if you're on one of our social network sites now looking at this, please like that page. And then up above, every twice a week, we send out newsletters at IndigenousWays.org. There you'll also be able to sign up to a newsletter if you so wish. We'd love to see and hear from you. Also, if you're able to, we know it's a difficult time for a lot of people, but we have our PayPal, Venmo. There's our link again for the donate button, and also our postal address for those people that aren't big into the tech. And also what we have done, also thanks to the online audience, we've been able since the middle of May collect over $25,000, which we took up to Black Mountain on the Navajo Nation. We did 4 runs. So we're looking forward to going back up again, not only helping this community of 50 families, over 200 people in the 3 communities up there. This is a community where Tasha's grandmother came from, born and raised, Margaret Dalton, but also her mother, Kathy. Hey, Kathy, we know you're watching.
Hi,
Thank
Mom.
you, Harry, for beaming in. Hey,
Harry.
Missy, who's driving home from Hamas. So we're grateful, and also Tash and her sister, Michelle, they grew up with their grandmother in their early years spending time on Black Mountain. So that's the connection there. We're looking forward to going back, but we're going to be telling you more about those projects coming up probably next week. We've got some exciting things that will happen. So now it's that wonderful time again. If you're on Zoom and you want to flick on your camera and say g'day to the beautiful Joanna Harcourt-Smith, this is the time. Also, if you're in our social networks, I want to give a shout out to my best friend, Huriana Kereru. Hey, Mary, who's beaming in from Northern Territory in Australia. We grew up in New Zealand and did Teachers College together. But kia ora, Huriana, thanks for beaming in the middle of Australia, the heart of the place. Also, thanks to Amy, Terry Morrison, who's a lot of people in our social networks. So we want to just give a heart out thank you in being here. And thanks everyone, those in Zoom who have been brave enough to turn on your cameras.
Hi, Charles. I miss you in the center. So, yeah, come on in, you guys, and join and say some words to beautiful Joanna, if you'd like. Catherine, Anthony, unmute yourselves if you'd like.
Hello, I'm Anthony. So Joanna, I just wanted to say that your story was really special to me and really touched me, because right now I'm going through a little bit of a situation that's kind of similar with, coming from a family where cruelty was common and having to leave that behind, and that scary period where it's just me. I just moved out here to Santa Fe about 3 weeks ago.
Wow. Well, courage and heart. And when I'm nasty, which I still am, I feel it and it hurts. So then I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
I love you, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Good to
Thanks,
see you.
Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony.
Hi, Joanna. It's really good to see you. This is Missy, aka Michelle, and I've always loved your posts that I've been seeing on Facebook because you are an amazing poet, and you have just this freedom of expression and just this way of you're like a river that flows just so freely and so openly, and I love that about you. And I feel very inspired because there's not a whole lot of people like that in this world, you know? And that really means a lot to me. It's very special, and it's very, very bright. I do include you in my prayers, and I'm sorry that, you know, that you're having this challenge that you're being faced with, but it sounds like you're really approaching it from a very proactive and just, you know, solution-based standpoint, and a standpoint of also learning and appreciating the moments and the feelings in life, which I think we all, you know, it's a reminder for all of us that we're here. This life is a gift, and we should appreciate every day, every moment, all the time, you know, not just, you know, selected moments, you know. And you know, so I feel like you know, you really are an inspiration to me, and I loved what you talked about, you know, love and how you see it in different ways in the world. And that's what I see too. When I feel the love and see the love wherever I go, in the grocery store, in the work, or just people I pass, it's like I just feel it and I embrace it, and it's just such a wonderful thing to be a part of a community and people that are just positive and just sharing good feelings with one another. So that's very special to me. Thank you, Joanna. You're beautiful. We love you. Do you want to speak, Michelle?
Oh, no, I'm okay.
Okay, no, okay, that's okay.
Thank you, Miss.
Thanks,
Oh.
man.
Michelle, touch my heart, Michelle. That's the name I'm going to give you. Touch my heart, Michelle.
Catherine, would you like to? Okay, come on, Catherine.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Catherine Cordova, and I'm calling in from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so many of the points in your story really resonated with me and touched me deeply. And particularly what Anthony was saying about the trade-off of power for cruelty. I work in a school that serves particularly challenged children, and I really appreciate your modeling being joyful and present, whatever the situation, because that's one of the things we teach children as a matter of succeeding in life. And even in the honesty of the gratitude in depression, and stepping away from hostile people who should be caring for us but can't. And that part that is in ourselves that leads us to paths that aren't the best for us. But I am grateful for that, and I love you, and I'm thankful for the gift of this time with you. We get these fleeting moments to touch each other's heart, and I am so grateful. And so I want to give you something that we've learned to as we're working with children on Zoom, which is big love.
Like this?
Yeah, you make a heart with your hands. And if you center it over, if you look at your eyes through it towards the camera, it's like a big heart coming at you.
That's excellent. I love it, Catherine.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, it's a gift, beautiful gift. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Is there anyone in Zoom that would also like to share before we wrap up, or any
Oh,
comments?
Hilda wants to talk.
Great. Thank you, Hilda.
Hi, I'm Hilda, and I'm from Wisconsin. I really, really feel your love through this call. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and sharing your story. I will keep you in my thoughts and my prayers. Thank you so much. So much love.
I need you, Hilda.
Thank you for that, Hilda. Anyone else?
Thank you, Hilda. We love you too, Hilda.
Okay, we're going to just take this moment and thank everyone for beaming in through all our networks, our social media people, those that are on screen and off screen in our Zoom. Thank you so much for your bravery in turning on your cameras. You know, one of the things that Joanna talked about, or many wonderful gifts that she's given us, was the mending hearts. And the sorting of the mending hearts, it's also the journey to mend our own hearts, then to be able to be vulnerable as she has tonight. Not only sharing her story, but sharing her essence and her brilliant spirit with all of us in this moment. So whether you are in watching this recording through all our networks and being deeply touched by this extraordinary woman, just remember a couple of things. She's going to be back in Showtime with her documentary of her journey. So buckle up and wait till then. She also has all her amazing archives of stories that she has shared on her amazing page, which is just down below, futureprimitive.org, where she has interviewed hundreds of people like herself that she has met on her journeys, that has touched her profoundly to be able to share not only their story, but their essence with the whole world. But this wouldn't be possible if none of you were here. So let's please give it up. I know, but let's please give it up for Joanna Harcourt-Smith. Woo!
Woo!
Yay!
And I just want to add that my partner, Jose Luis Gomez Soler, is my partner in life. He's my partner in futureprimitive.org, and he's made possible over 800 broadcasts.
Oui, fantastic.
For Jose Luis.
All right, we love you too. And you've also been interviewed over 600 times just for you, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of interviews. Wow. You're amazing. Wow.
So on that beautiful note, we want to thank each and every one of you, wherever you are beaming in from this morning, or this evening, or this afternoon, taking this incredible, precious time to give your love to this extraordinary powerhouse, you know, that we know of as Joanna Harcourt-Smith. Just before we sign off, we look forward to seeing you on Friday with the beautiful Wade Fernandez from the Menominee Reservation, who will be beaming in, sharing his essence of spirit through his gifts through music. We also want to thank, let's give it up for our interpreters this evening, Zol and Crescesiando, making access available for all. Thank you. But this would not be possible in sharing the language of the heart, sharing the essence of spirit, without the extraordinary Joanna Harcourt-Smith. So one more time, let's give it up for Joanna Harcourt-Smith, her extraordinary mending hearts, mending ours tonight. Hey, and let's close off with this, those beautiful hearts. We see you, Joanna, sending you lots and lots of love. Thank you for that, Catherine. We're going to use that.
Wet your hands, feel my face. Touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth. Feel the rain. Touch the earth, touch the earth, touch the earth.